Alright, hello everyone. My name is Fia Gloss. I'm gonna do a bunch of playthroughs for all the SCREAMWORLD jam games. Hopefully before the voting has ended. I'm going to obviously review everybody's game, but I want to give my first impressions with a video. Um, just thought that would be a fun way. So I'm going to start with this first one, sort of chosen randomly, called Forgotten Wooded Area. Prototype release on Saturday, March 2nd. A horror story based off a 2009 animation memes. Oh, based off of 2009 animation memes and old creepy drawings. If you want to know what the characters look like, go to my Instagram at CookChihi. Okay, CookChihi. All right, so we'll get started here. Um, this is a Twine game, and if you don't know, this is what Sugar Cube looks like by default. I don't have any problem whatsoever with default, by the way. I'm not saying that as like some sort of jab. Just that's what this is what that is. Um, I would say first off, like just personally, if this goes unused for the game, there's one line of code that you can put in that makes it go away. And I think if you don't use it for anything, then it's a big improvement to just take it off. But let's get started. You walked up to a wooded area. The trees are grayish, and there's a carcass of some sort of animal. The carcass is fresh. A cold chill ran down your spine. You pulled out your phone and you looked at the picture you took. The picture was of a sign saying, "We need help. Come to the Forgotten Wood with trash bags and food." Suddenly, your phone shut down. It said that you were in the right place before it did. There's no turning back. Again, if you're unfamiliar with Twine games, it's hyperlink based, so clicking these will advance to the next passage, as it's called in Twine. Um, anyway, it's not relevant, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. You walked into the woods and slowly picked up the pace. You stumbled and almost tripped over a rock. You felt embarrassed. You picked up the rock, and before you threw it, you looked closer. It looked like a small figurine of a dog. Keep rock or throw rock. Now this is where it kind of gets fun because you get to pick. And that's how a basic interactive fiction works. So, all right, it looked like a small figurine of a dog. Let's just keep the rock then. Maybe it's important. You slipped the rock into your pocket. With every step you took, it felt like the rock was getting heavier. A shadow appeared in the distance. Following it was a black cat with red markings. They had a collar. Well, I'm not going to throw the rock at a cat without a good reason, I guess. So far, and this is a personal gripe. This isn't like a probably it's not fair, but I don't really love it when you start in a game and you have kind of like no real clue as to like what you're doing. Like it started off telling me sort of why I was there, but not much beyond that. And I don't know necessarily who I am or if I'm supposed to be me or another character. Or, it's one of those things. I don't really have a leg to stand on since I did it this time, but just in general, I'm not a huge fan of that. Again, these are just my personal feelings, so I'm just going to call to the cat. They heard but ignored you. That's a cat. They kept walking. Well, okay. Throw the rock. Startled, the cat ran away as fast as it could. Yeah, just let him go. You heard footsteps behind you. You turned around to see a dog-like darting towards you. A dog-like. Another thing I'm noticing here is that capitalization is a little weird. I noticed with one of the first, the first path you could choose, It was lowercase for both. Now it's lowercase for one and uppercase for another. And uh, I feel like it switched tense once, but I wasn't like looking at it closely. I'm trying to just follow the story mostly. I'm not going to nitpick grammar, but just with this kind of thing, just in general, it's probably good practice to just have a set standard of what you do and remain consistent with that. Let's run. You turned left and ran as fast as you can. See that this is switching case. So you turned left and ran as fast as you can. I think that's switching case. Maybe coming here. I'm not sure. I'm not a grammar guy, but it's this is a little awkward of a sentence, I would say. Maybe coming here was a bad idea. The dog chased you around until you were both just running in circles. That's a dog. Eventually, you, capitalized, ran out of breath and allowed the thing to catch up to you. The dog panted. They were also out of breath. You examined the dog. They had yellowish fur and amber eyes. They wagged their tail. Hello, I'm Ember. Gosh, you're fast. Okay. Cat got your tongue? Just kidding. I'm a dog, dipshit. Anyways, why'd you come here? Was it because of the signs I put up? Yes, it's because of the signs. Great, follow me. You followed Ember to a small den, a small cat head. Um, just another thing, like, if you, it's kind of weird when you say like, oh, we entered a small den and then a small cat, and then it's just kind of it like this is where just using a synonym would be awesome. Just like you went to a cramped den or something, and then a small cat head came out of it, following a very long neck. Your job is to look after them. I'll give you a reward if you do. Um, why though? I just need some time to myself. This one's creator left him here about 6 years ago after getting a critique saying that they look too edgy or something like that. Uh, are they edgy though? They've just pissed themselves out of fear. What do you think? Oh, just look after them, okay? Amber stretched out their paw and gave you a small whistle. Call if you need anything. Amber. Wasn't it Ember? Okay. Anyway, you looked at the cat. They were trembling, and they've actually pissed themselves. You felt bad and reached to pet what you thought was fur. Instead, slime coursed your fingers. Ooh, I like that. Slime coursed your fingers. I don't I don't know if that's proper, but I just like that the way that's said. Um, the cat nipped you on the hand out of fear and ran out of the den whining. Well, I guess we have to chase after them. You ran after the cat mostly because you felt bad for Ember. Yeah, it was Ember. Okay. After about 20 minutes of running around, calling to the creature and making weird noises only a puppy would enjoy, you felt something touch your shoulder. Well, let's turn around. So far, everyone has been very nice. um, you turned around. A fox-like creature was staring into your eyes as you did the same. You both stood there staring at each other for about a minute. It stood as still as a statue, and you started to question if it was even real. It took in a deep breath and exhaled on your face. You couldn't read its expression, but you couldn't help but feel shitless. It was alive. An unknown entity was standing in front of you, and you were its hunt. Okay, well, so much for I'm having such a great time. Everybody's so nice. Let's antagonize, because that's what I would do in real life. You reached out to poke them. So here's another thing that's just a little odd, is that in the previous one, uh, it the the fox-like creature was referred to as it, and now it's them. Um, Again, it's just like a consistency thing. And obviously, I don't know how this is all coming together per se. And so, like, it could be if I had taken another route and gotten to this point, then it would be it, uh, or it'd be them all the way through that one. And I happened to get one where that was written at a different time. Um, but I would just say, play through and just try to keep consistency on that thing, kind of thing. Anyway, sorry. I don't mean to be this nitpicky, by the way. This is just, I'm just trying to give the little thoughts I have. Um, you reached to poke them. They gave you a contempt look. This made you hesitate. Well, I can just keep on antagonizing. They quickly seized your arm and twisted it. Yeah, that's probably fair. You felt a terrible twinge and you felt like you were falling. You quickly became unconscious. You woke up with a splitting headache and your arm missing, ripped out of its socket. The pain was agonizing, and you felt your jaw clench. You looked around and realized you were in a den. Well, all right. I figured I was going to be using the whistle here. You screamed and called for help. Soon enough, you heard the pitter patter of feet towards the den. A little nose poked into the den. It was the cat. They stretched a paw to you and made a signal for you to grab it. Grab paw. You grabbed their paw with your one hand. They did not have fur. It was gooey and sticky, and you started to realize that they weren't a cat, but you were probably going to call them that anyway. They helped you to your feet and sniffed you all over. Then you felt a rough shove. The cat creature pushed you and tugged your pants when they wanted you to turn or go somewhere. You found it pretty hilarious despite your whole situation. Well, at least I can laugh. The cat came to a sudden stop and sniffed the air. Their eyes widened and they ran ahead of you. Catch up to the cat creature. You finally caught up to the creature. They were looking at something with scared, wild eyes. You looked to the direction they were. There you saw why they were scared. The unknown entity was snarling, blood on their snout and body. Underneath the feral entity was Ember. The small dog-like body was crushed, mouth open as if drawing in one last breath of air before letting the darkness take him. Suddenly, before you could react, you and the cat were on the ground, pinned underneath the entity. The cat drew in one last breath. All right. Well, we could lose another arm. You tried to kick the monster off of you. You failed and grabbed them by the neck, attempting to choke them. They just smirked with a hint of derision. Yeah, it's kind of hard to choke somebody out with a single arm. Ooh, see, now I like this kind of thing where you're advancing the text. I don't know if this is just going to new passages or using what's called link replace in Sugar Cube, but in my opinion, this is how you make a Twine game look a lot more professional and like play a more interactive, I guess is what you'd say. So this is totally cool. I like this. You struggled and it's especially I'll get back to reading. This works especially well in this context because it's sort of I don't know how this is gonna. I can't read the end of the page and figure out how this is gonna play out, and so this adds a lot of like anxiety about what's gonna happen next, which is perfect for this kind of thing. It's a good way to build tension. Anyway, let's keep going. You struggled and kicked, trying desperately to get them off. The cat had already given up. Entity started to giggle, then choke. You gave them a hard punch, and blood got all over you and the cat. Suddenly, the entity dropped on top of you both. They were surprisingly heavy for how small they looked, but they were not dead. Ember crawled over to you, legs unusable, and gave you the crippled up $50. Okay. This wasn't supposed to happen. Early the next morning, you finally got the entity off of you. They were snoring loudly. You picked up Ember and the little black cat and carried them home. Ember was just a lifeless, bloody little dog now. Though he was still breathing, you could do nothing to help him. Well, let's I wasn't aware I had medicine, but let's give medicine. You woke up every day at 5:30 to give Ember medicine. Though he couldn't walk, you had a feeling everything was going to be all right. Okay, I guess this is one of the endings. And I kind of don't have any idea of what's going on just through my first playthrough. So, yeah, let's restart. I'm just going to kind of quickly read through this. I'm not going to read it out loud, but just try and piece together. Maybe I feel like I missed a couple details, as I always do with this kind of thing. It takes me a long time before I'm totally understanding what's going on around me. All right. Let's just throw the rock this time. You threw the rock into a bush. It hit something. A dog-like creature emerged and darted towards you. All right, so we meet Ember this way. So that's kind of... Ember is obviously an important part of the story here. Obviously. Let's just... what signs? Oh, you may want to leave then, like right now, as quick as possible. Sprint. You left fast. Nothing has changed, and the picture on your phone remains. Okay. Yeah, so... Okay. So we'll throw the rock this time. What do you want? The real question is, what do you want? Why did you come here? Was it because of the signs I put up? Yes, it's because of the signs. Great, follow me. You followed Ember to a small den. A small cat head came out of it, following a very long neck. Your job is to look after them. I'll give you a reward if you do. What is that thing? Cat. Oh. Just look after them, okay? Ember stretched out their paw and gave you a small whistle. Call if you need anything. You looked at the cat. They were trembling, and they've actually pissed themselves. You felt bad. Oh, yes, right. Yeah, just let them go. You suddenly realized you wouldn't get paid for just sitting there. Oh, okay. Chase after them. I do appreciate the little touches of, like, you can do something and then the game sort of is like, yeah, okay, but for real though, let's keep going. There's a certain point in games, especially interactive fiction, where you just have to be like, okay, but now the story's gonna happen, because come on. I kind of like how different people handle it. So, all right, let's see. Stay still. Okay. Let's just accept death. You sat there motionless, waiting for the entity to rip you apart like it did that to that carcass. Soon you heard something running towards the den. The entity entered the den and slowly approached you, until they were just inches away from your face, and threw up all over you. You felt a tingly sensation, but it didn't take long for it to start burning. You started to melt away into nothingness, but before you croaked, you heard the entity crunching on your leg. You were just a memory now. Okay. Now I'm starting to feel like I accidentally stumbled into an okay ending the first time around. So, the only thing I'm a little confused is I feel like the only thing I don't have an answer for is why with trash bags and food. Um, I'm just gonna go through. Let's try crying. The entity snickered. Wonder why I couldn't do that before though. So you can only cry if you turn around. You can't stay still and then start weeping to yourself. Um, let's call for help. Grab the paw. So no matter what, I'm not getting out of here with more than one arm. All right. Let's fight back. I see. I wish more of it was kind of like this, just like slowly uncovering more details about things. Um, let's end his suffering. You took a knife and examined it. Perfect. You looked at Ember and he looked right back at you. He smiled and wagged his tail one last time. You heard the cat crying behind you. Don't worry. It's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. So I kind of feel confident I've seen a good majority of. There's a couple more routes here or there that I could get endings, but it feels kind of like I got the main endings already. Um, you know, I don't. This is kind of like one of those things where it's a really kind of kooky idea, and it's it's just this is kind of like what is perfect about Twine games is that you can have these kooky ideas and put them together, and this is like why I like Twine games is that somebody just kind of gets a neat idea in their head and then they just start putting it together, and really the only thing, honestly, like I don't I don't feel like I feel like I could have more of this. And really what I mean by more is just I like just a little more of expanding, just expanding the setting, expanding the main character, or not, depending on if it's just supposed to be me and how I would react personally. Um, Again, and now that I've gotten through it, I would say, yeah, just get rid of this. There's no reason for that. Um, but really, it just feels like all I would need from this is just expanding it a little bit and fleshing it out a little more, um, and giving sort of a more satisfying understanding of the entity in the woods and sort of the cat and Ember's relation to the entity. And I know that said something about if you want to know what the characters look like, go to my Instagram. Yeah, if this, you could just put actually the pictures in Twine, and that would be kind of cool too. I mean, this right here, like, this is just 100%. I'm totally into this aesthetic of just like, this is my cool idea that I had, and I'm putting it together. Um, I overall, I really kind of liked it. There's just little things I would fix, just go through and do an edit of some of the weird sentences and more consistency with the links. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's a weird story. It's an interesting story. Um, and I think it just needs just a little more detail to ground it. So me as a reader, I'm kind of more in the world that as it's happening. I guess I would say it's like just so me as a complete stranger, I don't know this person. I don't know who created this. I've never met them. I've never talked to them. So I'm not fully immersed in their world. I'm sure if I had a conversation with them on Discord or something, they they could I could get a sense of them and what they're about. But it just needs to come through in the text a little more, and then I think this could be just like a real offbeat, cool story. Um, it's not super scary. I don't think it was meant to be, based on all the humor, um, based on the fact that it's 2009 animation memes. But you know, it's I like it. I like it. It's just needs a couple little things. So, all right. So thanks so much. Hopefully this was helpful and it wasn't just me rambling for who knows how long. And hopefully that helped you out. Or maybe you could just be like, wow, this Via Gloss guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand my genius. That's fine too. That's exactly how I feel about my first game. So anyway, uh, hopefully that was something. So thanks again. This is my first time ever recording a game. So yeah, I'll leave this as a comment and go ahead and rate the game, and I'll be doing the next one. So thanks a whole lot, CookChihi, for Forgotten Wooded Area. Um, it was a great, offbeat, humorous little twine game. All right. Well, thank you.